Where'd we get the flowers?
Oh, our guest had them sent over. Aren't they gorgeous?
Oh. Should have known. Margo never forgets anything. I suppose we're going to be getting a lot of flowers now, since we'll probably be having her over for dinner more often.
Well, I think we should. We haven't exactly been very nice to her now, have we?
You know why we haven't had her over for dinner. I didn't want her around, and you didn't want Elliot.
Well, we don't have to worry about Elliot now. He's out of her life for good.
Yeah. She's right smack in the middle of ours. All right. Like I said, I'd be polite to
That's
her,
right.
and I will be.
Okay.
I'll do whatever I have to do to try to get along with her. Just don't expect any overnight miracles, all right?
Oh, do I detect a chip on someone's shoulder?
It's hard to forget that she did deceive me about buying the house and everything else she did. And now she's trying to buy a baby.
Come on, Draper.
All right. Didn't mean to bring it up.
You're right. I mean, it's okay. Draper, I do not expect you to change your attitudes towards Margo overnight. I don't. But you did say that you were going to try. And I'm just hoping that tonight's the first night. Please?
Mr. Karr, I'm David Hansen.
Mr. Hansen, nice to meet you.
Sorry to be late, but you're a lawyer yourself, and you know what can happen at the office at the last moment.
I see that Seward, Paxton, and Whiteside is no different than Karr and Scott.
Scott? Oh, yes, of course. Draper Scott. That's the young man I'm supposed to have been so nasty to. Waiter?
Yes, it's just a one-day trip, a flying visit, I guess you'd call it. I have a client who's involved in a joint action, half of which is in New York. Fortunately, it was easily resolved.
Lucky man. I'm finding my cases more and more difficult to resolve. Maybe it's my age.
Oh, I doubt that.
Or maybe it's your competence. I've been hearing a lot about you during the past few months when your name came up as a candidate for our criminal law division.
I hope you know that I was quite flattered by that offer.
Yeah, but you turned it down anyway. You did know that the man has not been found. We've been through 3 possible candidates since Mr. Scott. Since that time, and none of them has satisfied us. They didn't have your integrity.
Well, if you think my request to see you had anything to do with my interest in that job, I'm afraid you're wrong.
I will say this. If you did decide to take it, you'd have our unanimous approval. You could start immediately.
I haven't changed my mind. I still intend to keep my practice and my home in Monticello. But I do know that Draper Scott would be willing to relocate if he got the unanimous approval of the partners.
But as you know, he didn't get that.
Yes, but from what I understand, it was almost unanimous. There was just one partner who disagreed and whose judgment was highly regarded by the other partners.
Meaning me, of course.
You did say no to Draper, didn't you?
Yes, I did say no.
And you did that without ever meeting him. Now, that's the part that surprises me most.
Well, I assure you, Mr. Karr, that young Scott was not the only candidate that we rejected without a personal confrontation. Why, just the last man that we were considering, somebody from San Francisco, we all decided that there was no point in bringing him to New York.
But you did bring Draper here, and you were the only one who didn't approve.
Well, I had my reasons. I found out some things about the young man that, let's say I had valuable input from a person I respected.
A person you respected? Just one person, right?
All right. One person who knew the young man very well and whose judgment I respected.
And that person was his mother-in-law, wasn't it? Mr. Hansen, you may consider that information privileged, but I don't. Because I think you were very much misled.
Misled?
Yes. Because if you received information that Draper was unfit for the job, that he was too rash, callow, inexperienced, that simply isn't true. That was spoken out of sheer bias, prejudice, and special interest.
That's quite an accusation. Do you know Margo? Oh, you did get that out of me, didn't you, Counselor?
Yes, I know Margo. And I also know that she was desperately worried about losing her daughter if her son-in-law left the city that she had made her home. And that, Mr. Hansen, that was the only reason she said what she did about Draper.
I find that very hard to believe.
A moment ago, you were praising my reputation for integrity.
Now, look, I'm not saying that you're lying.
I'm neither lying nor misjudging. Believe me, I have no axe to grind in this matter. On the contrary, if Draper did come to New York, I'd lose a valued associate. But I still feel he should get another shot at that job. What happened was wrong. What Margo did was wrong. And Mr. Hansen, I'm afraid the same thing applies to you.
Well, Nancy, I hope you don't mind eating in a place like this. I know you and Mike are much more used to eating at Armando's or the Coach House.
Oh, this is charming. Charming, Deborah. I mean, I'm delighted to find a place also that has main dishes for under $5.
They don't have very many of those, but the food is good. I like it.
Your apartment is nearby, isn't it?
Yeah, it's right around the corner. I'd ask you up, except the maid hasn't come in today, and it's a little messy.
What was that you started to tell me on the phone? Was it robbed?
Yeah, no, as a matter, I wish it was.
Oh, it wasn't a burglar.
No, if it was a burglar, he was a very choosy one. Maybe I ought to be insulted. He didn't find anything worth taking. He didn't even take the cash.
Really? Or maybe he was frightened away.
No, I don't think he was frightened away. I think he was trying to frighten me. At least that's Steve's theory.
Oh, he thinks it's malicious vandalism?
Exactly. There are quite a few people around town who feel malicious toward me.
Really? Oh, you mean people you may have arrested?
Yeah. Anyway, I got a police lock installed, so I don't have
You
to...
mean the police lady has finally got a police lock?
Well, at least it'll keep my super out of the room, keep him from bringing in painters or whatever.
Yeah, that must have been very unnerving for you.
It was. Like I said, at least robberies are understandable.
Deborah, when you called, you said you wanted my advice about something?
Yeah, Nancy, I am badly in need of advice.
Oh, in Madison?
Oh, in Madison, he's talking about divorcing his wife. It scares the hell out of me. He told me that he was going to talk to Nola about getting a divorce. And I don't want to be any part of that.
What, did he say that you were?
Well, not in so many words, but I'm sure that I'm a big part of the decision. It's as if his divorce would mean my commitment. And the thing is, I can't do anything to stop him.
No, of course you can't. But there is one thing you can do.
What?
Well, you can tell him that, make it perfectly clear to him that his decision should have nothing to do with your relationship. I mean, he should act completely on his own, as if you two had never met.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't think he would ever have thought of divorcing Nola if it hadn't been for me.
You should talk to him for your own sake.
Yeah. I have to make sure he acts on his own.
What's the matter?
Just a minute. I'll be right back.
Sure.
Hello, Benny. How you doing? You haven't finished your spaghetti yet.
I'm on a diet.
You're on a diet. Sure. Well, you look like maybe you need a little exercise. Let's say we find you some heavy housework to do. Maybe in my apartment? Or were you already there?
don't know what you're talking about. I've never been in your apartment.
Come on, Benny, you've been in my building a million times. What do? Peddle dope door to door?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I don't do stuff like that. The only thing I peddle is flowers from the shop.
You know, I saw you on my roof the other day. What were you trying to do, get in through the window? Well, you better not try it, because I've got bars on those windows now, see? Just like the bars you're going to be looking through one of these days.
Oh, yeah. You'd like that, wouldn't you, lady? You can't wait to get me arrested. Well, 3 times you bust me, and 3 times I got off, so why don't you quit trying?
You think you're a smart kid, but you're so dumb. Didn't you know I had cash in my apartment?
I'm telling you, it wasn't me. And let me finish my spaghetti, huh? You know, I paid for it.
I thought you lost your appetite.
Well, I will if I keep looking at you.
All right. Go ahead. What's the matter with your leg? All right, hold it right there. Thank you, Scotty. It's okay, folks. It's okay.
It really is so warm and cozy here. I keep forgetting how charming it is until I come.
Well, that's because you haven't been here often enough.
Thank you.
Oh, Draper, did you offer Margo a drink?
Not yet. Excuse me, Margo. Would you care for one?
Yes, thank you. A little glass of white wine would be lovely.
Oh, I think I'll join. Oh, no. Forget it. I have sworn off alcohol. I read somewhere that alcohol is bad for pregnant women. Is that right?
Well, I'm no expert. Ask your obstetrician, Dr. Buckley.
Good idea.
Well, here you go, Margo.
Oh, thank you, Draper.
And thank you for the flowers. They're very nice.
Oh, I'm glad you like them. Well, if you folks don't have any news, I do.
What's that?
It seems it's about Elliot. He came by to pick up his things, and he told me that he has a new job.
What happened to the Unicorn Club?
Well, it seems he has a rather nasty employer, felt he wasn't morally fit to hold such a prestigious job, and I guess I'll start looking for a new manager. Yeah. Any suggestions?
Is he working at another restaurant?
No, you'll never guess who gave him the job. My old and dear friend, Owen Madison. Gonna make a movie star out of it.
A movie star? Oh, Margo, you can't be serious.
No, I'm absolutely serious. I always knew he was a great actor. I just never knew other people would recognize him.
An actor? In the Mansion of the Damned? Mm-hmm. What's he playing?
Oh, Draper, the only possible role. The devil himself. Isn't it absolutely delicious? I'm sure he'll enjoy himself immensely.
Well, how did it happen? How did he get the part?
Well, that's up for speculation, but the story is that Nola Madison had met him at the Unicorn, and then, of course, she saw him again at our apartment. Mm-hmm. And when Trent Archer left, Nola remembered him, recommended him for the role. Apparently, he passed the screen test with flying colors. Why wouldn't he? It's the penultimate piece of typecasting, isn't it? Oh, well, I'm happy for him. After all, he's doing exactly what I told him to do. Go to the devil.
So, Margo, what are you going to do now?
Oh, learn to live alone and like it, I guess. I did it before. Maybe I'll buy a puppy.
You're not alone. You've got family now, remember?
Hey, that's right. I have a daughter, a son-in-law, soon to have a grandchild, perhaps.
April, is supper ready yet, you think?
Well, I don't know. Why?
Well, maybe I better take a look. I don't cook, but I can smell if anything's burning. Excuse me.
Nice to meet you, Draper.
Yeah, well, you know what I think? I think you need to get away for a while.
Oh, no, I don't know. I think work is the best medicine. Though I must admit I'm not very enthusiastic about my job at the moment.
My point exactly. What you need is a change of scenery. A complete change of scenery. Remember how you've always told me how invigorating it is to travel, especially in a place like Europe. Come back with fresh eyes. Why don't you take your own advice?
Well, I love to travel, only I hate to travel alone. Mm. Now, if I could convince someone to accompany me.
Moi?
Toi! Oh, darling, that's a wonderful idea. Well, it's a perfect opportunity. Now, look, you're going to be tied down pretty soon, very, very pregnant. It's a perfect opportunity to do things like travel.
It sounds terrific.
Yeah.
Really, you're right. I am going to be tied down for months, if not years. I really should convince Draper that we should have a last fling. No, I'll forget it. What? He'd never go. He'd never do it. But for one thing, we don't have any money.
Oh, well, actually, what I was going to...
No, Margo, no. No more presents. Thank you. Draper's working day and night as it is to pay off your last present.
Darling, I wasn't going to suggest that. I know Draper can't get away. What I was going to suggest is that, well, you just take a month by yourself and come with me. I mean, surely Draper wouldn't object to that now, would he?
Oh, all's well in the kitchen.
What about it, Draper? You wouldn't mind, would you? You'd let me borrow your wife for a month, huh? And let her see the world before all she sees is diapers and baby stuff?
What are you talking about?
Well, I'm talking about taking April to Europe with me for a month. Oh, come on, darling, you wouldn't mind, would you?
Yes. Hello?
Hi, honey. It's your man from New York.
Hi, darling. How are you?
I'm fine. Just had an excellent meal in a very nice restaurant. How was your evening?
Oh, it was very exciting. I just got in.
Did you have dinner with Deborah Saxon?
Yes, I did. We thought it would be a good idea since you're out of town and she's off duty. But, honey, first tell me, did you see David Hansen? Did he keep that dinner date?
Yes, he was here just as he promised. As a matter of fact, my evening turned out to be kind of exciting, too.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, Mr. Henson proved to be a reasonable sort of man. He admitted that he hadn't been completely fair when he turned Draper down without even a personal interview.
Aha. Did you ask him about Margo?
Oh, yes, he was quite honest about that, too. He admitted it was Margo that had told him that Draper was unfit for the job and that he had taken her word for it.
Just as we thought. Oh, honey, if Draper ever finds this out, it's just going to make a bad situation worse.
Nancy, they still haven't found the attorney they're looking for. And Mr. Henson has agreed to meet and talk to Draper about it.
Okay, that's reasonable. That should at least clear up any doubts he has about himself.
So it means Draper's dream about a job in New York may still come true.
Finally turned on the heat. How you guys doing, huh? Taking care of each other? Yeah. It's time to move you off the radiator before you burn up. Look all right,
Stoner here.
Hey, Calvin, did you just call me?
No, why?
Oh, well, I thought maybe you called me about that kid I just brought in, Benny Hayes, you know, the one with the grass growing around his leg.
Well, no, I didn't call you, but I can tell you something about the kid. A very fancy lawyer just came down here and pushed him into a hearing with Judge Willis. The judge slapped his usual low bail on him. I don't think it was even $500. And the lawyer paid it right then and there.
So the kid's out in the street again.
Yeah, if you ask me, he'll probably make $500 in a day's work.
I don't suppose you know the trial date.
Are you kidding? With the way the court calendar is, it'll probably be a miracle if Benny goes to trial before New Year's.
Well, sorry to bother you, Calvin.
Oh, no trouble. And don't worry about the call. If it's important, he'll call back.
Thank you, Calvin. Hello? Hello. Listen, friend, I don't know if you know it or not, but you got a part of the police department here. So just stop wasting my time. Little things. Getting all hot and bothered, too, huh? Get away from all that heat. For God's sake. Hello.